I'm really happy to be joined by Joe Silver, who's taught a course called Marketing with Humility. And I can honestly promise you that I think it's going to change your perception of marketing. I think what you've created is something really quite extraordinary because, on the one hand, you're putting forward a framework for marketing, it seems to me, and we'll dive into that. But on the second hand, every time you think that the course is going to go down a certain line, it finds another direction to go off into, to dive deeper into the particular thing you're actually looking at. And I find that a fascinating thing that you've constructed.
In this program, I'm going to be asking you to do some internal work, because that's what I've discovered works. I'm going to be asking you to look at some of the habits that you have, or some of the beliefs that you have about yourself, about marketing and about humility. And so it's going to be a balance between tools and techniques and strategies that I know work and evidence that they work, and also a mindfulness training in an inner dimension. In my practice, I work with a lot of health practitioners, therapists, creatives, and people who have spent a long time in their life to build authenticity in their personal life and also in their practice and in their business. And they often say to me, when it comes to marketing, they don't want to sell their soul to get themselves out there, right? They don't want to have to do those things that people do that really make them look foolish. They don't want to have to be bombastic or manipulate or lie to people. They don't want to have to pretend that they're more glamorous than they are. They don't want to have to be a rock star. So they don't. And then they don't get their message out and they don't grow their businesses. When you care about who it is that you're serving and you're really interested in their journey and their experience, then your marketing becomes something different than when you're just picking off the lowest common denominator and trying to exploit people's natural human desire.
Right. Actually, one of the things I really liked about your course is that you actually start it with you, with the person who's trying to do any kind of marketing, right? I found it fascinating the way that in your course you're flipping between an analysis of what marketing is and what communication is and what propaganda is and what and so forth, and then almost in the same breath you're flipping into areas of not exactly personal development but personal awareness, really. And recentering and breath techniques and meditative techniques. And what led you to that pathway? I mean, how did you end up believing that was the thing that mattered?
It took a long time to get it into a coherent way to describe or understand what was happening when my clients failed and when they succeeded. And eventually I figured out that there was an internal realization that they needed to go through. And it is that selfishness, that flipping from service to self to service of another.
You have a wonderful quote actually in your course, which is from C.S. Lewis, and it's something along the lines of, humility or being humble is not actually thinking less of yourself. It's actually thinking about yourself less, which is a wonderful thing, right?
The reason that I'm taking you so deeply into this and challenging you to make the inner transformation is that marketing is changing. We are going into using video for everything. And in video, you can't hide. Soon, you won't be able to, people will know the difference between someone who is an authority and someone who is in pretense. You won't be able to pretty up your life and glamorize what it is that you're doing with photos and fancy words. That won't be enough. The trends are going towards video. And so I want to prepare you to make the internal transformation you need to make to take the step, not get left behind, and share your passion and share your knowledge about your domain on video.
We've been told to kind of brand ourselves. This whole area of personal branding, right? It's about you. It's about, how you look. It's about getting the studio shots. It's about, it's all of that stuff, right?
Yeah, and so
doesn't it work?
It does work, but it works for people who know how to connect with their real self and let that shine from internal to external.
Haven't the most successful marketers consistently been those who serve the clientele? That the IM community, internet marketing community, has a bad rap. Feels like all marketers are sneered at as snake oil salesmen now.
Yeah, and it serves them right. But there's a lesson in my course where I talk about when Americans were going west in this, I think it was 1700s, and the cowboys, so we've had the era of cowboys in marketing. When humans are burgeoning into a new environment, there's a high percentage, higher than anywhere else, of sociopaths, narcissists, and psychopaths, and so serial killers on the front. That's the case in anything new. You're going to have a pioneering time when there's just a lot of really non-empathic people who are just excited about taking the risks. And that's actually useful for the rest of us, because they may not double back and say and learn from their mistakes, but we can. And that's what's coming now is we're out of the pioneering time and we're settling down. We're settlers, and we're in this new territory of digital marketing communication with each other online. So the people who are more, more tempered, less narcissistic, more humble, in humility, I call it, because it's a state of being that you can choose to be in, just like compassion or gratitude. And people do practices to get into gratitude. So in my course, I've shared some practices that I've learned to help people get into humility.
Yeah, in humility we trust, right? It's but actually there is when one's with someone who truly is humble, who's practicing humility, that a very special connection does arise, doesn't it? I mean, the encounter changes. What's great about this, Joe, which is that obviously having been in the trenches for a long time, right? And you kind of you have the perspective of experience. You know exactly what the tech is. You know what the possibilities are. You know what the data streams are. You know what basically the dark side. Yeah, and so in fact, when you're advocating, another way, it's actually very, very interesting because it would be so easy actually to do the dark side, right?
So I've never used a red lightsaber.
Right.
I've always had a blue one. So it's taken a longer time to see successes. And sometimes people get impatient with that. But the ones that really can see that this is a creative process and it's an internal process, they get a lot of value out of the experience, the journey. And I don't know, I think, when someone says something to you, like, have anyone ever said to you, it's not personal, it's business? It's crazy because it is personal. It's all personal, especially business. It's a creative process. And I see business people the same way as I see any creator, any artist. And a good artist is not someone who thinks, well, they might like this if I paint it green. No, a good artist goes, from the inside. It's even inexplicable. It's self-discovery and then sharing the discovery, right? So it is personal. It is art.
This is a golden. I mean, what you're just saying is absolute gold. I can assure everyone listening to this that what you've just said is absolute gold. You should. I encourage you to stop the video now, back it up 30 seconds, and listen again to what Jo just said, and then go into her course and find out what she really means by that.